Ohio State is the first up. Number 3 in the preseason AP poll. They went 14-2 last year. They're your reigning national champions. Ryan Day finally gets it done most of the way. He can't beat Michigan still. But he got the crown jewel. He got the biggest prize. And with that being said, they lost a ton off that team. Will Howard's gone, their quarterback. They lose their running back, Travion Henderson. He's gone. They lost both their edge rushers and Jack Sawyer and JT2 Malau. A ton of pieces gone. They lost Emeka Ibuka. I mean, I could just keep rattling off names of talented guys, but yet they recruit so well. They hit the transfer portal so well. It's another loaded group. They have 6 top 200 players on PFF's big board. But the biggest piece, the key piece, the success of the season hinges on if Julian Sayin is ready to take the reins at quarterback. Former 5-star, he's a redshirt freshman, very smart quarterback. Thoughts on him, though, JP Sanders?
I don't know. I haven't. JP, I think I don't know why I spoke up. I was going to say, JP, would you like to say something?
Yeah. The mechanics do not impress me. He's got a ton of time to improve. But I'll go ahead and tell you right now, this doesn't feel like he would ever be an Ohio State quarterback draft pick. And that has been what these past 5 to 7 years with Ryan Day have been
Sure.
Ohio State quarterback draft picks. He doesn't feel like that. He's listed at 6'1". Their own announcing team for Ohio State during their spring game said he looks more like he's 5'11", 6 foot.
That's tough.
He's very clearly undersized, too, when you see him play. In the spring game, he had 2 batted down balls at the line of scrimmage. I think that's a potential struggle for them. He's not athletically gifted, so he's not escaping any of these pass rushes in the Big Ten. The pass rush of Texas in that opener.
Yeah.
He throws a accurate ball, but it's not necessarily the strongest ball. I know Josh Pate is really high on him. A lot of people are high on him. He can throw the ball far. He just doesn't necessarily throw lasers. So I think we're in for this feels like a potential the other quarterback might start, which is I think Tavian St. Clair has a chance to quickly become the starter for Ohio State. He's a dual threat 5-star who was the number 4 recruit in the nation in this last class and number 3 quarterback. Yeah. He's also an Ohio kid. Sayin's a California kid. I think St. Clair's got a good chance to start at some point this season if something just doesn't go right for Julian. And I think it could even happen in the Texas game. Josh Pate brought up an example specifically on a show, and I've already brought it up earlier today. For Alabama, the year Jalen Hurts came in, he replaced their starting quarterback midway through the first game against USC that was on the neutral site in Dallas, and then he kind of took off from there. We could be in for a similar story with Tavian St. Clair, and it hurts me saying that because Julian Sayin is my starting quarterback in the College Football Fantasy League, so I would like for him to do well over the next 2 years. And he's never started, and we haven't seen any of that yet, so he could completely prove us wrong, and he will have the chance to in that Texas game. But I'll go and tell you, he doesn't pass the eye test for me right now.
You heard it
and
here.
That's concerning for an Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah. You heard it here first. JP's not impressed. Tucker, I guess it is true. He's technically not been named the starter. But putting together the list, I think he's going to be the starter. I kind of made that read. But JP laid it out perfectly. He may not start even the whole year. I just think he has the leg up.
Yeah.
Just kind of being already in-house for longer.
That being said, we have missed 2 reads so far already.
Yeah, but they're like, yeah, I guess you're right. I have 2 strikes. So this could be my 3rd strike.
I would have been like, it's as a podcast.
Smaller programs. It's harder to tell.
I want to say.
Go ahead.
To push back on that though, he doesn't have to be anything special this year because they are insanely talented, especially from an offensive perspective with Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Max Clare, the transfer from Purdue. James Peoples at running back, I think is going to be really, really good for them this year. Another great Ohio State running back. And with the defense still having the talent that it does, he doesn't have to be excellent, but he might have to be in that first game against Texas. And that's where my concern comes in. Will they be calling for it immediately? Because you don't just lose in the shoe. I don't care if you're playing the number one team in the nation. Ohio State fans are going to be upset if you lose in the shoe on opening day.
Yeah, because also, I mean, they're the reigning champs, so even if they don't have the number one next to their name, they feel like they're the best team. Their fans do, and they have some validation there. But I agree, the weapons are great. You have probably the best wide receiver in college football.
Mm-hmm.
Max Clare was a great pickup from Purdue. He's a great receiving tight end. The defense did lose a lot, but Caleb Downs is still here, probably the best defender in the college football. Sonny
he's
Styles,
the number one overall on PFF's big board.
Sonny Styles is a tackling machine at linebacker. Jermaine Matthews and Davidson, I don't even know how you say that last name, Igbinosun. They're both cornerbacks that'll probably get drafted next year. So make a good point. He just kind of has to manage, but at the same time, he can't because of the Texas game being week 1. If I had to point out a flaw of this team, aside from maybe question marks at quarterback, their offensive line actually struggled some last year. If you mind scrolling down real quick?
Yep.
They were 97th as a unit in pass blocking last season, and they lost 3 starters, Donovan Jackson, Josh Simmons, who did get hurt towards the end of last year, and then Seth McLaughlin, their center. So they're going to have to rebuild that unit quickly. And they have talent, but talent doesn't always work out on the offensive line. It doesn't necessarily always gel, and especially starting a new quarterback. You would really like that to be a group that has gelled and can protect them really well and also get good push in the run game to help out. If the running game is going strong, it makes it really easy on the quarterback. So that's something to look out for, is how the offensive line performs for these new quarterbacks. With that being said, the over-under is 10.5. How are we feeling on that?
I think I'm going to go – I think I see another 10-win season on the schedule. I think I'm going the under, and they're going to go 10 wins. They could – I think I would right now pick them to lose to Texas, and so they could go under and still make the Big Ten championship and still get a bye in the playoffs. So I'm going to go under just with the Penn State game and at Michigan. That's one loss, so then they have to beat Texas and Penn State, which are at home, but I've got them losing at least one of those. JP?
I think the value is taking the over, but I'm going to take the under. I think they go 11-1, losing one of those 3 big games, whichever one you want to pick. It really doesn't matter. I think it's possible to lose any of those. And I don't have them personally making the Big Ten title game. I think it's going to be Penn State and Oregon.
Wow.
Who we'll get into here soon. Now, for it to be Penn State and Oregon, it's going to be tough with the tiebreakers, but that'll have to play out some way. But I think they're the 3rd team in the Big Ten. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the worst. They're not going to perform well. I mean, last year they were the 3rd team in the Big Ten and won the championship. They were not in the Big Ten championship game last year.
Yeah.
So the path is there with the 12-team playoff, and with the talent they have, the season I don't think matters for them. I think it's just make the playoff, and you can have a chance to go on a run from there.
It's make the playoff and beat Michigan.
Yeah.
You got to beat Michigan.
That's the biggest game of the year. That's the only game that matters. But Ryan Day's got the monkey off his back from a national title perspective. And so I think that'll free him up a ton, and I think he'll stay motivated still. But the large part of the motivation comes for Week 14 and the Saturday following Thanksgiving against Michigan.
I'm also going to take the over. I don't feel like there's any way to feel great about taking a 10.5 over, but this team is just so talented, so I'll take the over at 10.5. I don't see an undefeated season, but 11 wins is what I'm banking on.
Yeah, Sven, that Penn State game is a home game. I don't know. You said that's a loss at Penn State. They get Penn State and Texas. Their only challenge on the road, I would say, is at Michigan.
Which they very easily could lose to Penn State in this
shoe. They absolutely could lose to Penn State. that being a home game.
Yeah.
I still have them losing one of either Penn State or Texas and then at Michigan. So I 100% agree they could lose.
They're losing week 5 to Washington.